Talk heavy. Now, I know it's been a while. I know I disappeared for a minute, but there was a reason for that. Something that I'm doing, something that I'm putting together, something that I'm trying to expound upon, and y'all will witness it soon. So, I apologize for taking a step back and stepping away from everybody, but it was a reason for that. See, sometimes you gotta dig into yourself. Sometimes you gotta take a step back and disappear and do all the dirty work that you need to do in order to put something together. So it's what I did is coming into fruition. There's levels to that, so things is definitely posturing, and I'm gonna make sure that y'all see that soon. But the reason why I come on today is because, first of all, let me introduce you. It's my son, Jahi. That's a story within itself. So I ain't gonna get into all that, but my son always asking questions, and even asking a lot of questions. The thing about it is, majority of the questions that he asks is from a generation that's been asking these questions for years, probably since their inception. You know what I mean? This issue is pertaining to what I speak about is the gap that we created through our actions or our inactions. And there you go. All right. So, like I was saying, when I be speaking about the gap that we created through our actions or our inactions back in the 80s and the 90s, by us not being there, created that gap. For us being stuck in crack houses and dope houses is to that same effect. A lot of us got unalived, and what was left was the carnage of what we produced. What we produce, we didn't protect. What we produce, we didn't give them the jewels that made us. You dig? So we was looking at this good brother Ali Sadiq, comedian from out of Houston, and we about the same age. I think I got him by a couple of years, about 3 or 4 years, but we from the same era. We follow the same rules, you know what I mean? And he was hitting on something that he was baffling him about how this new generation thinks and why would they do such things. And I'm going to play it back for y'all real quick. Y'all going to hear it. Y'all going to hear it. I can show y'all. Okay, here it go. Hold on.
I don't think I've ever hung.
All right, now let me go back a little bit, and let me let y'all hear this.
When you did get those people from around you, because you're going to make a conscious decision to get those people from around you, and then you're going to find a different tribe of people that's going to help you do what you do. That's a conscious decision.
Yeah.
Hey, why would I keep hanging with somebody who's trying to drag me down from doing something better?
Mm-hmm.
Why would I keep hanging with that person?
Right.
What's keeping me with them? If I want to join, if I don't want to drink no more, and I feel like I'm an alcoholic, I don't need to drink, it's going to be a point where I'm going to stop hanging with people who keep inviting me to the bar when I know that I don't want to drink. And then it's going to be the people around you, hey man, don't go to that bar.
Right.
It's always a balance of people. It's never one kind of person. As a former street dude, I know that it's more than one type of person, and even in a crew.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be more than one type of person. Everybody's not going to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be somebody that's going to be like, man, bro, we don't need to do this.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be. In my era,
and that's the key that this brother don't understand, and that a lot of my peers don't understand. In our era, see, I was born in 71. So when 85, during the beginning of that crack epidemic, I was 14, 15. So I went to the penitentiary at 19. So from 85 to 1990, that's the time that I spent on the streets. From 1990 to 09, that's the time that I spent in the penitentiary. So from birth, from 1971 to 1985, that was a life that was prosperous because I come up in the 70s. So it was a different time, a different era. We didn't have the drug epidemic like crack. We had other drugs, but it wasn't destroying huge amounts of people in each family. So, you know, we were able to learn, we were able to be instructed, to be guided, to be molded and shaped, to be formed into the men that we became. And when the crack epidemic hit, most of us was teenagers. So most of us was broke. So the climate was just right. It was prime for that kind of drug at that type of time to take that kind of effect, you know. But so I'm telling my son that he don't understand, or he do understand, but he ain't thinking it in that manner. See, responsibility have to be taken, and the ones who's responsible are the adults. We were the adults, they wasn't. So that means as an adult, I'm responsible for my child and the raising of my child, the nurturing, the guidance. I'm responsible for all that, you know. And how is it that you can own up to that responsibility when you're in jail or when you're unalived or when you're in somebody's crack house? See, most of us that entered into that life, we made a conscious decision, but the decision cost the fall of our culture, of our communities, of our families. That separation that happened was because most of us who was well educated, well learned, well taught, well raised, we didn't extend that courtesy to ours. See, it was supposed to be a passing of the baton, and that never happened. So if that baton wasn't passed, how do we expect them to think like us? How do we expect them to move and operate like us? You know? So that's the conversation that we had, and he come with 1,000 questions. So let me introduce person.
All right, so my whole thing is, all right, our generation, we lack that guidance that y'all had.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to raise ourselves. And now the people that's coming up under us, that's like 16, 20 years old right now, they even more misguided because they more social media driven. Like when I was coming up, we didn't have we had MySpace, Facebook when I was like 11, 12. So it came up when I was like a teenager. For these young kids, that was programmed to them when they was like 4 or 5 years old. They already had cell phones. They already on a different thing. They not even worried about real life. They only worried about social media and all that stuff. So like they not even hustling for the same things that the people from my time was hustling for. The stuff that we hustling for is almost the same stuff that y'all was hustling for, but a little more watered down. Y'all did it more for survival. Like it was like necessary. Y'all had to do it. Our generation was like 50-50. Some people had to do it. Some people just wanted to do it.
Let me ask you something. How do you came to that conclusion? That we had to do it, that we was who we were. How do you come to that conclusion?
I come to that because...
Did you come to that conclusion early in life or later in life?
Later in life.
Why?
It took me later in life to even want to know that stuff, to even dive into like that type of why things are the way it is.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, and I'm painting the mirror on me, what I'm saying is that should have been already instilled in you. You was supposed to be raised with a certain amount of discipline, a certain amount of structure. The discipline and structure that I got from my father, I wasn't able to pass that on to you. So it took you until what, after your 20s?
Yeah.
To really start to question, right?
Yeah, because in my early 20s, I wasn't even like, I was looking at what you did and who I wanted to be a whole different way. I was only looking at the bad stuff that you did. Like, I'm going down Beirut, all I'm hearing is, oh yeah, pop was getting money, blah, this and this. I'm not even thinking about what's behind that. All I'm hearing is this, all right, boom, I'm going to go do this. But in that same time, you was trying to tell me not to do that. But I still had to touch that oven and see how hot it was. And from the grace of God, I got out of those situations. But
yes, not a grace.
I also had a little more intellect than the average person that be moving around nowadays. I'm a lot sharper than the average mind of my generation.
Why is that?
Because I'm a intellectual.
Right. But why is that?
The way I was raised. Like, I mean, I was raised like I ain't had no super bad upbringing. Like, my mom was a good mom.
Talk heavy.
So she carried the fork down. Even when you was her waist, she still installed her. Like we ain't gonna be doing this out here in these streets. We ain't gonna be just any kids out here. I wasn't just gonna be anybody out here. Like I wasn't just gonna be like everybody else. She always told me be a leader, not a follower. And when I was young, I was a follower a little bit. So I almost got caught up in some stuff. But I was still like, my mom was still a mom enough where I ain't trying to get caught. Cause I get caught by these police and I gotta go home and face that. You might have send me to jail. So that was enough to keep me cool. Like in my teenage years. So I still was in school. I was being bad enough to be bad, but not bad enough to go to jail. So I was still able to get my education, still learn, and still maneuver. And I never was too smart to not listen. I just may not listen at the time. So when everybody was telling me this when I'm like 18, 19, I'm in the projects, people like, yo, older dudes like, yo, why you tattoo your face up? I'm just like, man, this is where I'm gonna be at for the rest of my life. Like, bro, you only 19, bro. It's a whole bigger life out here than North Philly, bro. This ain't nothing, bro. And I wasn't even trying to hear that then, but nights in themselves and all, like, time in jail, you start to internalize all the stuff that people was guiding you with through life. It shouldn't even have to take that long, but it took me that long. But that's why I'm able to think about why I think about stuff the way I think about it now.
Okay.
Than the average person.
Okay. Well, let's go back to that. Let's go back to, because we're here now, so we might as well let the people understand the bigger picture. When you was born?
I was born 96.
What year? What's the date? What's your birthday?
June 7, 1996.
Okay. Where was I at when you was born?
Shit, probably on Redford.
And when was the first time that we saw each other? All right, so it was 2006, actually.
Yeah, 2006, I'm sure.
Yeah,
it was 2006.
It was 2006 because...
It was October, like 31st, 2006. Or
right.
November 1st, 2006.
Right, because...
I came from Florida. It was 2 years after my brother died. That's why I'm tripping. Yeah, he died 04. He came up 06.
See, I remember that because from when you was born in 96 until 06, I was incarcerated, so I wasn't there. 06, I came home. I didn't come home. I went to the halfway house because it was pre-release. I've earned to be released a year before my minimum date. So I had to spend a year in the halfway house. So when I came home, I went to Kentop. That's when we met. That was the first time that I saw you. Because your mom came down when she found out that I was home. She came up, brought you up. Because I believe where y'all was living at?
In Florida.
In Florida, right? So y'all came up for the weekend or the week or something. And that was when we first met. How did you feel?
You talking about coming for a week? We came up to move. So it was like...
But that was after. That wasn't that day. That wasn't then.
That all felt like the same day.
It wasn't because when I came to the house, y'all came up to well, when y'all came up to see me because I'm just coming home. Y'all went back to Florida, and then the situation happened, and me and your mom was on the phone. I was like, well, y'all might as well. I got an apartment as soon as I get, my man gave me, Buddha gave me the apartment up in Germantown. So then y'all moved up, right? Because y'all had to move everything up, right?
It became like, all right.
Yeah.
So it was back to back, but it basically was like, yeah.
It was like in the same time because I had to, because y'all, whatever situation y'all got into down there, it was crazy. So I said, I got a spot. I'm being paroled to. Y'all come up here. It's a nice 2-bedroom apartment. And, yeah. And that's when, how old was you?
11.
11 years old. And I'm expressing this because this is the proof. This is the proof right in front of your faces. I didn't meet my son until he was 11 because of my incarceration. Because of decisions that I made before he was born. See, and when I hear good brothers like Ali Siddiq, when he can't fathom why they don't think like that. They don't think like that because we didn't give it to them. You know what I'm saying? From 1985 to like 2000, those were real that was a critical 15-year period, you know. But that was long enough to create a gap where the remnants of what we were raised in, we couldn't extend it to them because we was not there. So the questions of why they think like that, why they do like that, it's because they had to design a blueprint to live by on their own. And a lot of times they see pictures, they hear stories, they see movies of how we used to move, and they try to mimic. But they don't know the soul of it because we didn't give it to them. That's what that gap is. That's the essence of why we're going through what we're going through now and what we went through then. The difference, this 25-year difference, were filled with nothing but agony, pain, struggle. What we did, what we've done, was we got out of character of who we actually are and how we was raised. And we lost our damn mind. That was our reality. We lost our mind because we came in contact with something that we never had. It's money, influence, power. It got to the point where our women were being abused. It got to the point where most of us, by being incarcerated, our kids was left out here to really fend for themselves. When most of us got unalived, the hen house was open for all predators. So when you look at these youngers today, when you see the harshness of their actions, when you see the tyranny in what they do, when you see the evenness that they have in their eyes, they wasn't born with that. That didn't just start and just jump into their body. That soul didn't just invade them like that. That was a learned behavior. That was behavior that happened out of fear, out of survival. Our kids had to build the blueprint to live by because of that gap that exists that we created. I don't want to hear no bullshit about opening up old wounds. The reason why the harshness is today because we're not opening up the old wounds. The first time I saw my son, at 11 years old, all I could do was apologize, didn't I?
Yeah.
And what I say, it would never happen again, didn't I?
Yeah.
See, we don't understand this, but when we pose an apology and when we give them dialogue as to the reasons why, as to the climate in which we was living in that day, why we made the decisions, what we thought was best, those are things that they need to hear, that they need to know. That's why I'm asking us as a culture, those who was involved, those who benefit, those who succumbed, those who did whatever it was in that day. I want you to take a moment to think about your kids, man. Think about the people that you brought into this earth. Think about the people that you helped raise. Think about those that were unattended while you was behind them bars or while you was up in them crack houses. Think about how their mother was getting disrespected and had to do all kinds of things just to feed your kids. That was our reality. What we did back then, that was our reality. We made decisions that we thought was right, but it was wrong. And we paying for it now. And I wholeheartedly believe, because there's something that I've done. I believe the only remedy to break up some of that resolve, some of that hatred that our kids have, is we need to sit down and talk to them. We need to have discussions. But first things first, we got to put the mirror in front of us. We got to be honest about what happened, the reasons why. But first we got to apologize. We got to submit to an understanding that we did something wrong and we got to do something to make that right. Changed my life completely. Now I have relationships with my grandkids. See, honestly, from how we was living back then, at 14, 15, 16, we really didn't do nothing wrong. We didn't make or manufacture the drugs that was put on the streets. We don't make or manufacture the guns that's put in our hands. But when we subjected from birth, because of who we are, that our legacy is devalued because of who we are, from a people that don't have the powers or the abilities that we have. We have to succumb and submit to that power of apology, because it brings about another element in life that we have yet to see. If we don't, we're going to keep on seeing what we're seeing. We're going to keep on ducking bullets. We're going to keep on being victimized. It starts at home. Starts at home. We're going to pick up on this, man, because I believe that this is teachable moments. And I'm all about giving out games. So it's a thing that I have my son here now, and that we are starting what we started, because we lost somebody that's important to us. We lost people that were important to us.